is March 29th, 2026. I'm tired. I am so stinking tired. You know, I repeat myself till I feel like I'm blue in the face. I really do. Laws that you can even Google yourself of how illegal everything that happened to me. I still would like to know who was in that courthouse September 10th, 25, Tuscarawas County Courthouse, saying that they were FBI agents, and telling that courthouse that I was the biggest liar, that they never seen anyone around me, and everyone's to get even with me. And then in the prosecutor's office, hearing a guy's voice of, I want her to hate her husband. I want her to have nothing when I get done with him. And I had walked by a door before that. Had the right to do all those things to her. Psychos. And Judge Lori repeating that lie. How there was an office that they spent thousands of dollars all around. Government paid millions. Why would you only pay thousands? They paid millions. So who were those people in that courthouse? Call my case fraud. Do you know it's illegal for an agent to call their case fraud? Or to open a fraud case? It's 20 years. Because you either opened a legitimate case, they didn't go anywhere, and that ended. But you can never call it fraud. And you can never call your informant a liar. See what I mean? That's who the hell were those people? And then the original case was only a threat and attempt to lie case. It was to find out who was behind the attempts and the threat of life. And who was behind it. They weren't looking for someone around me. They didn't know the case. Then March 5th, 26, Bell Store on 800, Route 800, Magnolia by Sandy Valley Estates. I was in there several times. Some ladies are talking. Nobody thought it was funny, those federal agents showing up, saying that that case was fraud. She was the biggest liar. Okay? And then that agent was supposed to be sending out emails of him bullying her. Say you're lying or arrest you, until they taped over parts of it. And then laughing at her. It sounded like pure evil. And then saying no one's to help her, no one's to believe her. If an FBI agent calls someone a liar while they're trying to give them a statement, it's badgering, it's obstruction to justice, and tampering with a witness. It's 20 years. And if they tell someone they can't help them and not to believe them, it's abuse of authority and tampering with a witness and obstruction in 20 years. Oh. See what I mean? Where they said they set up that agent to be arrested. Where they said they were going after him last year. Where they said started in 2019. They said we need legal loopholes. That's when they started it. Well, he told on her before he talked to her, that's a big legal loophole. And then they said, well, he even admitted on a recorded line he had everybody in his office. They already knew. He don't have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet, and then it's illegal. He opened a real case. He left her there, and he didn't pay her, and he took her money. He was defrauding her. And then in 22, how they set him up to be arrested. They were going to get the case thrown out. And then last year they started again, that they were coming for him. And they were going to get him arrested. They were going to get that case thrown out on fraud. There's something going on behind the scenes that I don't know about. Well, I'm usually in the dark till someone tells me that they think that Agent John would rather sit 100 years in jail before he do right by me. And that is amazing to me. And he'd rather let serial killers out of jail and let them sue the government for false arrest under fraud and let them sue for millions of dollars and let them out killing people before he would do what's right. They brag they have him in their pocket, that they're blackmailing him. Okay? That's where that lady in Bell's store said that people came forward and said they paid off that agent to talk to her like that he did on the recorded line. And he let all this happen, that they've paid him off. Well, how much does a federal agent go for? How much does it cost to pay off a federal agent? To have one in your pocket, how much do they go for? You didn't sell yourself short, did you? All your integrity, your career, United States, children, women that were going to die. How much would it cost to put your heart and conscience in the toilet? And your mind and your soul? How much would it cost? And see, that's where, when people show up, we all know none of this is funny. None of it is. March 27th, March 30th, 25. Outside my apartment on North Chapel in Louisville. The guy that moved in my old apartment. He was outside with Amy and Harry. And I hear, I was in the office when they met with that agent. It's like, oh, hell no. I'm looking out the bedroom window. He said, our religious group was one of the first one on scene to help out on this. So he was part of the extortion plan from the government. Okay. And setting that agent up to be arrested and to extort money from the government. He was part of it. Don't forget him if you ever go for arrest. He said, and when that agent, when he was talking to her on that recorded line, he asked her about the doctor from before. She said she didn't know who he was. He knew she was lying. I wasn't the one lying. He said he didn't care what we did to her, and he turned her back over to us. That is a federal crime of attempted murder. You know that, right? They could never turn you back over. It's illegal. The whole thing is illegal. Okay? He was the one, June 4th, 25, outside my apartment. I want that agent to show up here. I want him to explain himself. The drug dealers we hired to help hurt her, he hires drug dealers. My God. Found out they got arrested. I want that agent to show up here and explain himself. Well, then they flat out, he didn't show up. That they were going to get him arrested. Announced it out in Alliance. I got the date. Okay. And that they were going after the case. Now, there's something that they don't think he'll pay me. Okay. And they think they have him controlled. This is where, and see, to me, it's nauseating. It's like a punch in the stomach. Being mistreated, betrayed, left there. Well, they got surveillance, abused, tortured, raped, human trafficked. bashed in the head, beaten, raped, and left for dead, almost shot, driving, drug till you lost 70 pounds. I lived a horror, complete horror, while they got surveillance on the cartels. And then he kept my money. And he didn't pay me. And because he didn't pay me, it's the biggest loophole. Because it's illegal for an agent to withhold that informant's money. They cannot misdirect it. They can't make up rules. It's for risking your life to get them information. It is illegal for an agent. It's considered blackmail if they tell you can't say anything. And it's badgering and tampering with a witness. They can't tell on you for calling. They can't bully you into false statements and say you're lying or arrest you, put you in jail. And they're laughing at you. Because they'll come up and put you in jail if you don't say it. They can't do that to you. Those are federal crimes. And they can't turn you back over. And they can't threaten to leave you there if you don't say what they tell you to say. They have to take your statement if they believe you or not and follow through. It's a federal law. I dated a cop for a little bit. It's called badgering. It's obstruction and tampering. It's considered blackmail if they tell you can't say anything. Then he's already told him that everybody was in his office. Then it's ridiculous. And then it's a federal crime. And he can't say that. On top of it, can't be in a court order. And no judge can sign blackmail, no matter what. I've already talked to a criminal attorney, talked to the police, talked to the prosecutor's office. He can't. It's for risking your life to get him information only. Get the money for the rest of your life and for getting them information. They owe you. Stay in immunity for life and you get money for the rest of your life. He can't take it. He can't withhold it. He can't misdirect it. But there's something going on. Because they said, how did they put it? Now, okay, before we start with that, in my heart of hearts, the pit of my stomach, I'm the kind of person that I hold out hope and try to find good in everyone. And I hold out hope until there is none. Because sometimes that's all you got is faith. Deep down inside, everything's going to be okay. You have to have faith. And it's the only thing that keeps you going. And in my heart, in the depths of my stomach, I thought Officer Mark or Officer John would show up with a letter of thank you, my money, and medical card, and apologize they let me live through all that. And they appreciate it because I got all those bad guys. And I thought they'd make it right. And the thought that bad guys are blackmailing him because he did me wrong. And they have admitted to people he took a payoff to do it. Because that's priceless to get a cop to do crimes in front of bad guys and then get them on tape. See, where all the investigators have said that it was an act. He was acting that way to get the drug dealers. He was acting that way. All of them have said it was an act. And even in 23, they have said that guy Pete better watch his hell. Because that agent's got him, he can turn around. I'm thinking, dear God, turn it around. Where last year they said they were coming for him. That she's either a paid informant, and he stands up for that case he created. Now they don't think he'll do it. That's where it's weird. Or he's defrauding her. He told on her for calling the hotline before he talked to her. And on a record line, he had everybody in his office. They already knew the FBI was involved. Made fun of her. Bullied her into false statements. Threatened her. Made fun of her. Everybody knew they were involved and for all their scams. Made her beg for her life. Listed her informant with money and immunity. And then threatened her, she would dare tell, and everybody already knew. Then he left her there and took her money. He was defrauding her the whole time. He either stands up for that case and he pays her, or he's thrown out. See, they don't think he'll pay me. They don't think he'll stand up for his own case. Why? Then we want Judge Peters from Florida released. All his men, every cartel, anybody connected got under surveillance. He had no right around her. He was defrauding her. Can't use fraud. It's either a legal case or he was defrauding her. And we want that case thrown out. That surveillance thrown out. And we want that agent arrested. And then every drug cartel dealer released, and then they're going to sue for millions of dollars. They've extorted millions of dollars of money that they're going to get for false arrest under fraud because they had no right around her. And then it could never be used again. That's how they put it. They don't think he'll stand up for his own case. Why? See, that's where... Okay. March 15th, I'm down in Carrollton, McDonald's. Some guy by the front is talking. He said I had him look her up. He said her case was a threatened attempt, a life case, to find out who was behind it. See, they weren't looking for somebody around me. They were looking for who was behind the threats and the attempts. And they said, and who would have thought? They got a lot of big drug dealers off of it. They showed up and they got them. Because they already had that case open. They were using them, they got them. And found out that agent even stole her monthly income money to live on. Can you imagine he stole the money for her to live on? And that guy said I was going to steal her Drekasami money. He said, and I found out that agent took it too. He even stole her money that she was to live on, the income to live on every month. It's bad when a thief finds another thief repulsive. Now, and you know, my case, when I go up in Akron, we all know Karen's Will's to open. We all know it's part of the nationwide human trafficking scam. After that agent told on me and talked to me so horribly on a recorded line, at first it was just me and the Cox and Pats waiting for the church to do something next. And then they picked out young men dressed as old and cheesy disguises, picked them out in Walmart 62 before Halloween of 2018. In January 19, they were in Ravenna trying to tell everybody they were FBI handlers. They're just drug cartel. They were with the California drug cartel June of 2019. One of them they called Junior. Judge Peters from Florida. His men were here before Thanksgiving also. The Henry Mavi weird text, hi, I think you're beautiful, and then something about love on a beach, and then people talked about him in stores, and men that showed up and said they were drug traders and human traffickers from Florida. They were for Judge Peters. They were here, the Kingsmen from Texas, all before Christmas. I have Dave taped several times of talking about all the men that were around me before Christmas of 18. The one video I did, I started laughing. I couldn't quit laughing. I said, you always complain I have so many men around me that they want me. I said, trust me, they don't want me. He said, well, it's not like you wouldn't want them to want you. I said, trust me, there's no men that want me. He said, why are you laughing about it? I said, because it's funny. And I got to looking around, and he kept saying stuff about, oh, you just want them. And it's like, no man wants me. What are you talking about? I thought, what part of my God, I had an FBI agent. My office is right there. And then men show up. You don't think any of them are cops and feds? What's wrong with you? And see, by spring, Buffalo, New York, Michigan was here. The rest. My friend Matt lives 2.5 hours away. January 20th, 23, he showed up with the U.S. Marshals. He sat down, all these men came in, and he said, I got a friend in the police department, knew about that case that agent opened with you. Knew about the Texas group involved in your case. And I'm like, the Kingsman? And we went back and forth, back and forth. He drove me till I was stuttering in front of him. Walked outside, they announced themselves. Or the U.S. Marshals will take care of him. Where Matt said his friend in the police department knew about the case that agent opened with you, and he knew about the Texas group involved in your case, and the police were going to use that case that agent opened with you to get the drug dealers that were human trafficking people. They got a hold of the U.S. Marshals. And they were outside complaining that agent left it there. Can you imagine he left it there? Then he lied to them. Now, they had already confessed that they photoshopped that shower scene in the other room to make me look weird. Years ago. He said he left her there because she's weird with herself. Who cares she was? And it was probably them and not her. It was them and not me. They were already making fun of people for falling for it. They already confessed for years they photoshopped that. They photoshopped everything. And that's where January 5th, 25, Walmart 62, investigators came in. What is this? Another FBI agent lied to a U.S. Marshal? She was weird with herself? We always knew it was photoshopped or washing yourself in the shower, and they had drugged her and told her to say it before. We always knew that. So I talked to a retired CIA agent that still talked to them. She wanted to talk to me about the Texas group. And that is awesome that they have killed agents, that they're all after them. And she made a comment about that tape. I said, that's photoshopped or washing. It was done by a drug dealer. A drug dealer? She went outside and called someone. Yeah. I said, it's photoshopped or washing in the shower. It's done by a drug dealer my ex-husband hired on his own. A drug dealer? Yeah. So, let's see. My friend Keith met with the U.S. Marshals in Canton, met one of the men that saved his life off my case. I cried for days. I've lived through hell. You gotta meet one of the people that got away because of it. My friend Tess at Bay Family Church. She was there in 19 and on. We were talking a little over a year ago. I said, remember when all those men from Florida showed up and said they worked for Judge Peters and they were hurting me before? And she said, I remember that, Karen. She said this thing blew up so big before they got it under control. That Michelle was there. She told people she was retired Judge Pete's daughter. Then she was FBI agent Will's daughter. She was above the law. And the law couldn't stop her. She could have anybody drug, beat, and raped. She could harm anybody and break any law she wanted, and they couldn't stop her. But she was seen with the people that said they worked for Judge Peters. And they were from Florida. And they were drug dealers. And they were selling the lock into the case there to 3,000 people. It's just Mary's niece, Katie's family member, trying to make herself more grand than what she is. When my daughter-in-law Dixie knew of her, I said, "Did you know about Michelle, the young blonde girl Dave was dating? The short, there's a couple Michelles." And and she said, "I know about her." I said, "You know about that retired Judge Pete?" She went, I said, "Oh, I found out about him. Well, this last Thanksgiving, I made sure I said it in front of people." I said, "Dixie, remember that Michelle Dave was cheating on me with?" "Yeah, I remember." I said, "When we're still married?" "Yeah, I remember her." I said, "You know that retired Judge Pete?" She's like, "Yeah." I said, "You know the whole thing was a scam?" She started laughing. She said, "The whole thing's a scam." Hmm. Get the idea. I told my boss about Judge Peters from Florida in 2020. Kingsman from Texas. Told him Judge Peters got arrested in 22 of this. He said, "Karen, that's crazy. I remember when you started with our company, you were talking about him." 2020. My client that everywhere we go, they used to talk about my ex-daughter-in-law, Melissa, having the kids lie. Investigators couldn't believe they tried to pull something like this during an FBI case. Having people make up lies and people getting tapes saying that they were lying, making everything up in their games to pretend in front of the FBI and police in the middle of a case. They talked about that girl lying everywhere. My client that heard him lying, talking about her lying again on October 5th, 21. We went to leave. He's like, "Who's that crazy Melissa?" They all talk about lying everywhere we go. It's like next daughter-in-law friends with ex's girlfriend had the kids make up some mean games and pretend in front of the police on Thanksgiving 18. He's like, "Is she crazy?" I'm like, "Yes." And he would complain that they talked about that retired Judge Pete in front of him. He said, and they would laugh at me, that they raped me in front of him, that they drugged me up and told me to say it in front of him. And he was a big, huge guy with anger issues. And at one point, his hand went like this to two guys. I looked at him, I said, "Stay out of it. Stay out of it. I'll tell the police. Stay out of it." And they were in there mocking me. I thought, "I'm not having a talk with anybody about you beating up two weirdos," thinking they mock me. I said, "Just let them go." I mean, he was there February 2nd, 22, when some Latino guy said he drugged me first and told me to say it. He regretted it. And people were screaming and canting about it, running. They were talking everywhere. Even an investigator from Ravenna showed up. Found out that bastard really did drug her and tell her to say it before. That was February 2nd, 22. In 18 and 19, they said they were using the doctor for the Florida drug cartel. By 19, they had never met me in person. And Carl, where March 27th, 25, an investigator was outside, said, "I broke up. There's another Michelle. I have seen her. I haven't met her yet. She's badass. I'm so proud of that girl. I never talked to her yet, but I am so proud of her. She's beautiful. She has long blonde hair." He was outside that he had got it out of that Michelle, that the doctor from before was not one of mine, works for them, and they had lied, that she actually don't know who he is. It's a HIPAA violation. No doctor could ever be with them. It's a federal crime. See, these people are stupid. And when they bashed him in the back of my head, they tried to kill me or leave me incompetent. And it didn't work. And as soon as she told me I broke up with him, I got it out of her ex-husband that a girlfriend from before made him marry her. And so she would have free insurance to use. The lady running up the medical bills in my name was another girlfriend of Dave's. 15 years. Half my medical records are hers. And he got it out of that family. Why on earth, 6 months later, when Strange called her a faker, would you tell people that it offended you? When she wasn't even there at that traffic accident. And he's just calling her a faker 6 months later. They said they made up everything. They lied. It didn't even concern them. They were just lying about everything so that they would help him get away with it. Okay? That was a year ago. That's where March 20th, 25, Walmart West Husk by the Electronic Aisle. There's been an investigator around me for years and years. I know his voice. He was telling some guy, he said, I haven't found one bit of this funny since a federal agent showed up and told me that family that was telling everybody it offended them, that Strange called her a faker, that they lied about everything. So they'd help him get away with it. And I don't believe one bit she ever threatened Katie. Never threatened Katie. Avoided that girl like the plague. Dave admitted December 9th, 18, I never caught him with anyone. So why would I threaten her? Wouldn't threaten her even if I caught them together. She dates my brother-in-law, Tim. Told you in 2001, my sister was out, found her husband out with Katie. Didn't say anything. She followed him, my mom followed him, my sister Lori followed him. They're cheating. Which led into even 2003. She still hadn't confronted him. Still following him like a damn fool. And she got caught, and they thought it was me. And that's when Strange, 6 months later, made up the lie of calling me a faker and pushed Danny as suicide. I hated those people. They nailed my mom's tires till she left state, and she never came back. And, I mean, in 2011, I went over there, 2 services. People were making up stories on me and Dave. And I thought if I went over there, that if I visited 2 services, that someone would tell me why. They didn't. I didn't go back. That place gave me nightmares. They pushed my kid to suicide. Wanted nothing to do with him. And she was making up lies on her and Dave. Now she cheats with Tim. And Dave got mad enough to quit his church. And then we were going up to Pamers. Occasionally. Or we just didn't go. Why don't you think about that? He wasn't even part of that church, and I haven't been part of that church in 15 years when the case started. And since she dated Tim, and everybody knew it, we avoided that family so we didn't have to make polite conversation with someone that makes your sister cry. You have to act like you don't know nothing. You know what I mean? So we avoided her like the plague. And it's been, 15 years since I talked to her? Pretty damn close. She probably walked by in the mall and said hi, and if I had to acknowledge her, hi with Dave. We walked on the other side of the kiosk, so she couldn't say we were saying anything. Or when we walked by, made sure we didn't say anything. So where on earth would I threaten her? I don't have her phone number. I don't have her address. I'll go to church with her. So where would I threaten her? I wouldn't. And if I would have been able to catch Dave cheating, I would have divorced the bastard. And Apostolic Church of Religions, you either die getting out of the marriage or adultery. That's it. See what I mean? It's See, to me, why didn't he just leave? Why didn't he just leave? See, but where they admitted this November 23rd, 25, that this whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was connected to us. We asked him if we could run a scam on her, and he agreed. He made sure he got everything in the divorce. That's where December 1st, 25, Walmart 62, an investigator came in. That beautiful Michelle showed up. Michelle showed up my office, said that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them. And they, let me take this back. He said, Michelle showed up my office. She said this whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was involved. These people already confessed. This other one was at Macy's in Summit Mall downstairs. They were yelling it out on November 23rd, 25. Okay? And that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied. And she actually don't know who he is. And that guy Pete that was in his office running his mouth about her. She don't even know who he is either. It's just some guy Dave hired on his own. And they admitted to using hypnotic drugs on her when they drugged her and told her to say it before. She has no memory of those people. I was so drugged up I thought the well water was giving me cancer. These people laughed at me. As I walked by rooms, they would reach out and stab me with those drugs. In my own home, hide in my home. August 7th, 25, Walmart 62, investigators, we got them taped to admit. Again, they drugged her and told her to say it before. They used hypnotic drugs, and she would not have no memory of those people. I'm calling Agent John a coward. So, they would still have that too. They taped them for years. Walmart's like a cesspool. Well, getting back to December 1st, 25, and that tape of Weird with Yourself is nothing but photoshopped a washing in the shower. They photoshopped that. And with them photoshopping that and the drug confessions, everything was just a scam to extort money from the government. Well, it was like a play, a skit they rehearsed. You know, Dave had made a comment September 3rd through 6th of 18. He said that him and Jack had this plan since March. I looked at him and said, you have something planned, I'll just give up everything. Because he's crazy. And he said, Jack said you wouldn't give up everything willingly, and we had to do it this way. Well, we put our other house up for sale in March of 18. I thought it was that. It's March of 17. We had $5,000-$6,000 disappeared from the safe. Car getting scratched up. Had to get the security system. The attempt to break in, knowing where the security system was. Some other lady taking credit for my bikes at Christmas. Him getting caught with pot in his system. And then leading into 18, the attempted kidnapping, the attempted carjacking, the following around. It was March of 17. So and you gotta think they could have killed me at any time. My God, where we were up there 6 days, like when we were out, someone kicked in our door and they set up behind camera stalking me. That is very illegal. It can go into wiretapping. You try to get money out of it. It's extortion, cyber stalking, illegal monitoring, felony invasion of privacy, voyeurism. No attorney can set up behind cameras. They are disbarred and criminally charged with all those crimes, just like anybody else. Even the FBI would go to jail outside a protected custody case with statements in a court order. No one can be in your home but that. Police and agencies only under a threat of life with statements in a court order. I've already talked to the police prosecutor's office and criminal attorney. There's nothing else. It's the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment of the Constitution. Okay. Even Carl, on April 17th, 25, that beautiful Michelle, where that agent had broke up with her, she was distraught. Her and her friends were following me around. She was in Sheetz parking lot, and there's big government SUVs. And she's having a little girl meltdown over this guy. She's screaming in the parking lot, and she's like, I talked to the police up there. They said, how dumb were you telling that guy that the doctor from before wasn't one of hers, works for them, and they had lied, that he was one of her doctors. And she doesn't actually know who he is. And when they bashed in her head, they tried to kill her, leave her incompetent, and it didn't work. And as soon as I told that guy, he broke up with me. And I really liked him. And they said he's an agent and she's some kind of informant. And we all could end up in jail for it. Car heard. Everyone in the parking lot heard it. See, that's where, that was April 17th, 25. She did that. April 19th, 25. Investigators showed up. How dumb are these people? You wouldn't believe how dumb they are. She calls the FBI hotline. They immediately logged into an FBI office, confessed they were legally monitoring on their own. And trust me, nobody ever fell for the dirty doctor scam. Taping you unaware, confessing a crime, sat on it till Dave wanted a divorce. There's like 30 years in that statement for that doctor. It's illegal for them to tape you unaware. It's illegal for them to be in it with Dave. It's illegal for them to share any information. Then it's illegal if they know someone's being hurt and they don't report it to the police. They can go to jail as an accessory. See, these people didn't know the law. And you could tell she was drugs and other parts sounded mechanical. We knew they altered it and it was all them and not her. And nobody ever fell for the tape of weird with yourself. You could tell it was photoshopped to washing yourself in the shower, and they photoshopped that. But if they were going to be that dumb, we told Agent John to go to that church and tell on her for calling the hotline before he spoke to her and to act dumb like these people. That's where the investigators have always said to act dumb. He was just acting this way because it's so illegal. See what I mean? It's like 100 years in jail. So then I found out on March 15th, 25, in Myers, I walk in Alliance, I walk out of the bathroom, ladies on the phone. We told everyone not to say a word. We found out that guy that said he had never met her before in person, he was the one telling everybody it was her doctor from before. And he admitted he never met her. That would have been that Henry Mafia guy, that weirdo. That thinks he's pulling a fast one on the FBI and thinks he's going to steal all the money over my dead body. Bastard's not getting a dime. See, that's where there are so many people. And who was in that courthouse lying to him? Was where even May 30th, 25, the Louisville police found my case. They were with the lady, one of the ladies that was part of the extortion ring. People even mentioned it. They said not to say a word. It's a big extortion ring doing this to her. That's what they called it in Cuyahoga Falls in 22. A big extortion ring doing this. No, it's illegal to trick somebody out of money. It's just, they're so dumb, they were telling the cops. I heard talking, I look out and there's a lady talking to the police and said, I didn't think she knows surveillance laws, and I thought they were going to trick her, I could trick her out of a bunch of money, and I found out she knew surveillance and I won't be able to do it. I'm going to trick Dixie and Melissa to put their names on it and then get them arrested off this, and she won't be around to find a law to help them. Well, I told on her, entrapment is a federal crime. You leave the dumb girls alone. And They said they found the surveillance of May 26, 25 in Walmart 62, the cartel saying this whole thing was a scam built from the Freemason, that of the dirty doctor not being one of hers worse for them and they had lied. And the whole thing's a scam. Officer gets out. She mentioned Bill from the Freemasons. This whole thing's a scam. Said that investigators found the original case. It said her ex-husband hired two men on his own. One was saying he was an attorney. So it made it legal. No, it didn't. It made it worse illegal. See, there's a real case. Stark County Courthouse. September 23rd, 2018 to October 5th of 2018. So who the hell was in that courthouse? Was it the two idiots Dave hired on his own impersonating federal agents? Hmm? Who was down there saying they were FBI trying to get the case thrown out? Chief Bruce Zawinski of Portage County was on the news. There's imposters up there. There's people pretending to be him, other sheriffs, deputies in this office writing, and emails supposed to be coming from them, even emails coming from federal agents, and it's not from them, trying to defraud people out of money, fake court orders, fake arrest warrants. And they're, he called them pure scum up there. They tricked somebody out of $18,000. And they're running fraud schemes on people. I thought, yeah, I know. And it's a shame. The place is beautiful. It's out in the country setting. It's beautiful. Now the Florida drug cartel has been down in Carrollton, New Philly, Magnolia, East Canton. I've seen the Florida drug cartel, the riffraff that hurt me, and trying to pull the scams down there. I've seen the Kingsmen from Texas up in Fairlawn. That means they're probably up in Medina. See, there's a real case. And like the guys said, her little threatened attempt life case, a lot of big drug dealers that showed up to help out. I know, like they say, it led into the drug cartel. See, that's where the investigators, you need to be proud of what you live through, because what you live through, you help save a lot of lives. My friend Walter used to work at the Stark County Prosecutor's Office. He said, Karen, you don't realize you got a lot of great favor with a lot of officers for working that FBI case with all the information they got on all those people and everything you lived through. Most people win awards. They don't get made fun of for somebody running a drug scam. Do you realize, with this being an extortion plan, everyone that walked into that FBI office after I called the hotline, they were ready to walk in. Said they had tried to kill me. We move up there and they come up with this extortion plan. Drug confessions, photoshopping of washing, fake dirty doctor. And they have to have their little skit, their theater show of why they should be able to get away with this. I probably had to practice it for months. So everybody'd say exactly what they did. Like a Christmas play, an Easter skit, a presentation. There was a stage of their life of getting up there and doing the best performance. That's why the last one I did, a round of applause for the greatest actor. A round of applause for the greatest actress. It was all in half. Going in there and thinking they're justified to harm anybody and take the law into their own hands. They should have been arrested the first day. And now, think about this. They go in, they tell that agent they're illegally monitoring me. That's 7 to 15 years. Why didn't they arrest them? They had photoshopped a washing. At the beginning of the case, they told people they had sodium pentothal reports. And then it came out they were using hypnotic drugs. Hypnotic drugs. I looked it up. It causes sleepwalking in 45 seconds. The way they laughed at me that they would jab me as I walked by a room and I didn't even know they were in the house. And stick me, she don't even remember being stuck. Then you can sleep, you're sleepwalking, you can eat, you can drink, you can cook, you can drive a car, you can have sex. It's like the perfect date rape drug with no memory. Causes permanent amnesia. And the warning, because you can do all those things with no memory. They had me so drugged up there, I thought the orange water I was showering in was giving me cancer. Never seen, never talked to anybody. It's scary when rapists are breaking in your home, hiding, jabbing you as you walk by with a drug that takes effect that fast, and then tell you to say something horrible, have you being raped, and you never seen or talked to anybody. Sick. And people laugh at me for some rapist. And some rapist photoshopping showering in the other room in his own rapist tape. Sick. And have one of the rapists pretend that they're a doctor involved in this? How could anybody fall for that? Them walking in there with their act. See, who was that fool in McDonald's after March 20th, 26 on Walmart West Test, that investigators admitting that family made everything up and were told the federal agent they were lying about being offended and everything else to help them get away with it. And then that fool on March 25th, 26, and McDonald's on 62 across from Walmart on 62. How when they walked in his office, who was that fool? And all the big lies that were told, they told that fool. They were playing him, right? And it's already known everywhere for over a year. Wouldn't somebody like to find out who that fool is? Then that other guy sitting there, and I don't know if it was Henry Maffei, and he shaved his beard and his head trying to disguise it. His face was all cute. I have never met Henry Maffei in person. There was only a picture from Facebook, and then him looking like or Instagram, and then driving by with people said they were drug dealers from Florida. And this is the first time I've seen him in a restaurant on January 19, 26. And he's a lot thinner. His face all caved in around his cheekbones. He's so thin, it's awful. Like he has AIDS or something. And this guy had the caved in face, cheekbone too, but no beard, no hair. And I thought those cheekbones, the sunken in face so bad. I wonder if that Henry Maffei shaved his beard and thing, and he's in there. I couldn't see the other guy sitting against the window, but that guy is sitting there. Oh, you should go in the men's room where you belong. I am not that ugly. You can fuck yourself. You're another ugly horse ass face man. Why don't you pay for some face work and then get some manners, learn to talk to a woman, right? Maybe you wouldn't harass ones that you've never met. Oh, I hate these ugly ass face men showing up and insulting me, and I don't even know them. They think they're funny. But that fool in that McDonald's that he was sitting with was saying, when that family walked in my office and said how when she stood up in the middle of their son's funeral, yeah, God heal me. Start walking around. My God, that never happened. I had to get my fentanyl patches redone June 11th of 2003, and that kid got killed May 3rd, 2003. I was still on something 100 times stronger than morphine. I was still that much pain a month later. I still wasn't well. They lied. Like they said, they lied about everything. Played him like a fool. So why hasn't somebody told that fool that they lied? They all lied. And think that them putting on an act like that. And then found out that crazy kitty that lies, telling people I threatened her. I haven't even talked to her in 15 years. I only said hi walking by. That's what I was thinking. When did I talk to her? Did she walk by and say hi? Possibly with me and Dave. If you have to acknowledge her, keep going. Forward her like the plank. Been doing that since '01. So I want you to think about that one. And Dave admitted I never caught him with anybody December 9th, 18, so there was no one to threaten. So she was debunked in 18. And could you imagine the actors and actresses going on in there? And I wondered if he had to get a bowl of popcorn for the theater show. They're all in there with their little skit of who's going to do what, who is going to say what. And it's all lies and a scam. See, I don't have tolerance for stuff like that. I would have yelled at him to knock it off. You think I'm stupid? You know, totally changed the subject. My sweet husband, Carl, he's finally doing better. I think I finally got through to him. The other day when he had met with his daughter, Dazzy, and she was talking about his son, Rick, threatening to kill him to steal everything again, he went into a sheer panic attack again. Scared to death of these people threatening his life. These people are using Carl's son and others to terrorize him. And they ought to be ashamed. I looked at him and I went, no, 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 no. They're in your head. Just let it go. They're words. They're just trying to scare you crazy. And he's told me how they've almost beat him to death before. His stepchildren had sexually assaulted him. And he lived in Horry. He's only 5'3". He was only 135 pounds. And how bad they beat him. And his ex-wife, or his late wife, Brenda, the second wife, have her kids beat on him, sexually assault him. And he lived in horror, in fear for his life for 25 years. And he lived through hell, and he's scared of his oldest son, because he's in it with him, and him threatening to kill him. He went in because they've actually beat him before. Scared him to death. And he's got a right to be scared. But not to let fear overcome him. Because that's what they want to do. Get in his head until he's in sheer panic. It's like you're going to have to go on medication or something else. Knock it off. They're right now, the only thing they're doing is trying to scare you crazy. It's all lip service. Wah, 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 wah. And I said, Carl, would you be afraid if I looked at you and said, I'm going to call the police and tell them you robbed the Bank of Arizona and shot 2 security guards? He started chuckling. He said, that's ridiculous. I said, exactly. And realize their lip service. Yes, you need to be around. Watch your surroundings. Yes, you need to keep the door locked. Yes, we need to keep the security camera. But you can't be afraid 24/7. You don't let them control you. Realize right now, imagine them just being spoiled 2 or 3-year-olds squawking. Well, they even his son Rick went to the extreme. He beat a horse and he poisoned a cat. And they were his daughter, Desi's animals, trying to frame Carl, and Carl hadn't even been down there. And Carl really loved that cat. And It's sick. Saying that if they had to get Carl arrested to take that farm from him, they would. You get nothing when you're an asshole. Where that Rick left me a voicemail. You want to play Stop Mommy? You'll learn the rules. I thought, listen, I thought, jackass? You don't want me to play Stop Mommy. We originally had it set up that Rick and Audrey would have got the farm. The day you terrorize me. The day you scare my husband till he vomits and he shits himself. The day you try to set him up to be arrested to steal from us. The day you start breaking in my home and you start tampering with my food and stealing my items and you're blowing up my phone 30 times a day and you're going to go into complete terror, you get nothing. Not a damn dime. Not a damn dime. Ever in this lifetime. And then he runs around. I'm going to make my dad have a competency test. He's got dementia or Alzheimer's. She's taking advantage of the woman that's trying to protect him. That they can't kill him and beat on him. My God, what was I thinking? Carl and I have been together almost 2 years. Been married almost a year now. Love him. We were friends for 2 years before that. And I finally got through to his thick head. I read the first stages of dementia. I said, Carl, do you have any of that? He's like, no. I said, exactly. I said, that's where dementia is not a normal sign of aging. We only hear more about it because it's on TV. It's plaque buildup in your brain. It's caused by drugs, alcohol, vitamin deficiencies. You have to have so much loss of memory, which leads to a neurologist and medication and then a CAT scan to prove it. He still drives a car. He still pays his own bills. Still gives his own meds. He orders his own meds. He can cook, clean, do his laundry. I could move out and he still could support himself. He'd be fine. See, that's where the whole thing of it is. He could tell you where we went out to eat, who ate what, and everything last week. And now he's got a thing, he can recite the presidents back from Trump. Where's he at now? Trump back to Ford. He'll be back to Nixon or further in a few days. Something fun to remember. He sits and does online testing of this or that. Out of 60, I only missed 3. See what I mean? They just wanted to scare him crazy and then sit and laugh. Look, there is something wrong with him. The only thing that's going on is he's scared, as Kathy Stillman said. They scared you shitless. They scared him crazy there for a little bit. It's like, stop it. Took a little bit. Calm down and realize he's okay now. That's where if I ever take out my money, I'd want new names and socials for me and Carl. Because then they could never find us. We could live our life in peace and love. And he could, like Carl said, I have a new family. They love me. Nobody hurts me. And I don't have to be afraid. And that's sad. It is sad. And he said, I love Danny and Jen. You know, Danny, my son, he said, I haven't had a dad in years. He said, Carl's a nice man. He offered Carl to buy his farm and against my objections, because I didn't want him involved. He said, I can't offer him what other people can, but what I can offer is I can drive Rick away. Put gates up. So Carl can go down and ride his tractor, cut his hay, and enjoy the farm he grew up on. It's been in his family's name since he was, 4 or 5? He's 80. It makes his heart so happy to go down there and look around. Because he grew up there. He told me, he said, I couldn't bear not to ever see it again. my son tried to do something nice for him and really put him in a financial bind. And if I got my money, I'd be able to help him. Trying to do a nice thing. He said it breaks my heart, the thought somebody terrorizing somebody off their own property and out of everything they got. He said he's a nice man, and he lights up when he talks about that place. Agent John, I don't even know if you listen to me, but I pray for you all the time. I pray God helps you do what's right. When they told you in January to March 19, he's always watching, waiting for you to make a mistake. We all know about that guy. He thinks it's funny trying to kill people. He thinks it's funny killing people. And the only way to beat him is to always do what is right, no matter how the road twists or turns. He waits for someone to make a mistake, and then he's gone. And the only way to beat him is to always do the right thing. I pray for you, because the consequences of your actions, from where you told on me and then all those crimes on that recorder line, all you have to do is turn around where everybody said it was an act. And it makes me sick that you didn't make it right on your own. And it hurts. And that they would actually have to use what was done to me. It makes me sick. It's not that I wouldn't like to have my money, but I would like to have it for the right reasons. It's not that it isn't owed to me. It's not that I didn't deserve it. It's not that I didn't earn it. I earned it 100 times more. That title FBI informant ought to be your golden child, or the red-headed stepchild. Because in my case, like they said, it led into the drug cartel. I pray for you, Agent John. I fear if their evil scam of getting the case, the surveillance thrown out, the drug dealers that'll be released, and the people that could die. I pray for you. I have notified the president, FBI, internal affairs, because there's a real case. And there's real drug dealers involved. So who the hell was in that courthouse? I wouldn't be surprised if it came out that it was the two guys Dave hired on his own run the scam. I'm gonna upload this.